Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm George Camel, joined today by best-selling author and fellow Ramsey personality, Christina Ellis. And we are taking your calls about life, money, budgeting, debt, credit scores, credit cards, how to get out of them, what to do instead. We are here for you, America. The number to call is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. You know, Christine, I get a lot of questions via Instagram. Ooh. And they're usually like, it starts like, hey, I got a question, and it's 17 paragraphs. So I want to let all of those people know, call into the show, because it's really hard. It's like having a full-on conversation via text. It just takes too long. So call us up instead, and we can help you that way.
It's a good call.
Yes, and Gia has done that. We appreciate that. In Lincoln, Nebraska, starting us off. Welcome to the show, Gia.
Thanks so much, guys.
How can we help today?
So my husband and I are trying to find out. We are 25 and 30 years old. We don't have any debt besides our house. We have about $30,700 left. And currently in the bank, we have somewhere around $28,000 to $29,000 in savings, all combined. All of that's just liquid cash. So we're trying to decide after our paychecks next month, we would have more than the 30. Like, we would have enough to pay off our house. So we're trying to decide, should we just go ahead and pay it off and be done and basically just put that extra money that we've been putting towards our house, basically just paying ourselves back and replenishing that savings, or should we just keep plugging away on the current plan that we have?
Is the $30,000 that you have in the bank, is that your emergency fund, or is that money separate from your emergency fund?
That is emergency fund included. So we have the $1,000 emergency fund, and then we have $18,000 for the 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
So my short answer is no, and the longer answer is no. And here's why. Murphy is going to be knocking at your door as soon as you pay that house off, and the HVAC's going to go out, and then you're going to be broke and have to go into debt to fix it. And so I don't like the idea of you guys draining your emergency fund in order to pay the house off. Now, I know where it's coming from. You guys are so excited, and you see the numbers, and you go, oh, my gosh, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Is that what you're feeling?
It's a little bit of that, and it's also just a little bit like I looked at the insurance, like not the insurance, the interest that we're paying every month on the house, and I'm like, well, we could just knock it off, and then instead of putting that, like the extra money that we've been putting towards the house and all of that, we basically would give ourselves like a $2,300 pay raise in a sense, because instead of that extra $2,300 just going to the principal every month, it would just go back in our bank account without the interest payment on top of that.
Well, I love that you're seeing that interest and you're going, man, I want to knock that out. Because a lot of people, you know, they go, that's not a whole lot. Like, let's just keep pushing off the mortgage. But the fact that you're seeing that and going, nah, we want to pay this off, that is great motivation. But as somebody who has had an HVAC and a transmission go out in the same month, I would definitely want to keep that emergency fund because, like George said, Murphy will hit when you least expect him. And if you only have that $1,000 in your emergency fund, that's great when you're in baby step 2. But when you can have that flexibility to have that emergency fund for those type of major issues, it's definitely a lot more comforting and keeps you a lot safer.
Yeah. Gia, are you both working outside of the home? Is there 2 incomes?
Yes.
And are they stable?
Yes, we have a double. Yes.
Okay.
They are both stable. I'm a registered nurse, and then my husband works for a furniture company, and then actually within the next year, starting in September, we're looking to actually send him back for HVAC and plumbing.
Awesome.
To go back to school.
Well, we can split the difference here. What you could do is go down to a 3-month level emergency fund and use the rest to pay off the house sooner. But that is as low as I would go since you both have stable incomes. So I would do the math on that and go, okay, what's 3 months of expenses to cover everything that we have in our budget? And whatever's left, we can use that plus our future income and savings to pay off the house in the next few months instead of, 6 months or whatever it would have been. So how much faster would that get you guys completely debt-free? If you went down to 3 months.
So it would be 18,000 added. So that'd probably take us we would be debt free probably in the next 6 months. But my job, I'm actually going from part-time to full-time, and I'm not 100% sure what my paychecks are going to be completely because I, get paid hourly and not salary.
So it'll probably be more like 4 or 5
I know
months.
I'll be going. Yeah, so probably something more like that. I just don't know for sure. I haven't been able to get the numbers concrete yet because I haven't gotten that first paycheck yet.
Yeah. Well, just listen to that. You're 25 and 30 years old, and in 4 months, you have a fully paid-for house. So you guys are just so driven, and I love that. But sometimes with people who are driven, like Christina and I are the same way, and we're like, we just want to see it gone. We'll do whatever it takes. That can cause us to make some poor decisions along the way. And so just have your eye on the prize. 4 or 5 months from now, that mortgage is going to be gone, and we're still going to have a fully funded emergency fund and have that financial peace. That's good stuff.
That's going to feel so good. And I hope you all come to Nashville and see us. I want to hear you on this stage. I'm excited to hear more about your journey because the way you're motivated, the way you all have fought through this, and the fact that you only have $30,000 left and you're 25 and 30, that's so exciting. So I want to hear more about this story and how you got there because that's just awesome.
And Christina, we've been seeing an awesome trend where we have people in their 20s and early 30s doing debt-free screams saying we paid off our house.
Yes.
And a lot of those are what we call financial peace babies, meaning their parents went through financial peace and they raised their kids in such a way to give them good money principles, and they latch onto this stuff so much earlier. And so we see people graduating college debt-free. I hear so many people that come visit us on the stage and they whisper, yeah, we actually sent all 4 kids to college debt-free because of you guys. And we're like, we did nothing.
Yeah, or they're kids who went through Foundations, our personal finance curriculum for high school students. I see a lot of students who, they went through it in high school. They learned all the things that we wished we would have learned in high school. When I talk to adults, they're constantly like, why didn't we learn about basic budgeting when we were in high school? Well, these kids are doing that, and then they're getting out of high school, and they're starting out the right way. They're getting that debt-free degree, and they're immediately putting together an emergency fund and paying off houses at like 21 and 22, which is incredible.
And we also hear people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s going, gosh, I wish I knew this stuff 20, 30 years ago. And the beautiful thing is, parents, you can give that to your children. And it is your responsibility to teach them these money principles because guess what? Culture is not. Social media is not. And what happens is they end up going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt because we've taught these kids from a young age, get good grades, so you can go to this college of your dreams, no matter the cost. And by the way, we haven't saved a penny for it because we're broke as parents. And then they walk out of college with hundreds of thousands in debt going, wait, we were lied to. You guys said this was the path to the best life.
Yeah.
And here we are feeling screwed.
It's painful to see that, but we see that every day. And so even if you're not a parent, if you're just a mentor, if you're somebody in a church who works with young people, have those money conversations. I know they can be kind of awkward, but invest in young people and have those.
Have it early and often and make them listen to The Ramsey Show at 13, and they will hate you now and they will love you later. And that's parenting, isn't it? Hey, more of your calls coming up. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
I'm George Camel, joined by Christina Ellis today. This is The Ramsey Show. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. Cody joins us up next in Denver. Cody, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, George and Christina. Thank you for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Hey, so I have a HSA, and I recently discovered that the one that my employer provides, it comes with the option of investing it in various funds, just like a retirement, a 401k. Included in those are mutual funds, and I was just wondering, would that be wise to do, or should I just treat the HSA as a savings account?
It is absolutely wise to do. I love that. Now, it depends on where you're at in your financial journey. So, do you know the baby steps? Where are you at in that? Do you have debt?
I guess I'm on baby step 7.
Oh, awesome. You got a paid-for house.
I do, as of
go.
last week.
That's awesome, man. How old are you?
32.
And what's your house worth?
350, 400.
You are a rock star, man. Way to go. So,
Thank you.
As far as the HSA, yes. So once you're past a certain threshold in that account, for ours here at Ramsey, I have an HSA with the high deductible healthcare plan. So my threshold is once you have over $1,000, you can invest money beyond that. And so, do you have that already in your HSA? How much is in there?
Yeah, there's just over 1,000, and I think 1,000 is the threshold as well in that plan.
Perfect. Yes, you can go in there and select investments. If you need help with that, of course, you can reach out to a SmartVestor Pro. And depending on what's in there, you can match what you're investing in your 401k and do those same mutual funds and just make sure they're diversified across the 4 types that we teach.
Okay, so use the same exact investing principles.
Yes. And something Dave Ramsey does himself is he invests in his HSA, but he uses his own money to cover his health expenses and just lets that money grow. And so it becomes a second kind of retirement and investing vehicle that you can use later in life because, as we know, your health expenses go way up later in life.
Sounds great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you're just a rock star. I love that. Are you coming in to do your debt-free scream?
I would love to, but I actually just moved away from Tennessee so that I could kind of get into this situation.
Well, hey, we are cheering you on from here. That's amazing.
Yes. Way to go, Cody. Christina, this is only perpetuating this beautiful theme of young people doing amazing things with money.
Right. 32, paid off house. That is incredible.
Living the dream, Cody.
Yeah.
Love to see that. And the HSA it's a great point for all of our listeners out there that it is a great investment vehicle. So not only can you put in money tax-free, it grows tax-free, you can withdraw it tax-free for qualified medical expenses, but there's also the investment side of it too.
Mm-hmm. And I love the strategy you were saying with Dave where he will pay for the expenses separately to let that build up. This is my first year at Ramsey and getting to do the HSA, which that's such a great strategy because I've looked at it and been like, man, I want this to pile up so that when I'm older, it's a lot bigger of an investment. But that's a great strategy. I love that. It's
something you can do. Once you get to that baby step 7 side, you can really go hog wild. Otherwise, it's good to have up to your deductible in the HSA, your out-of-pocket maximum.
Yep.
So that way you have, if it's $7,500, it's good to have that level in there once you're past, your baby step 3 and you want to start really covering your family and protecting yourselves. That's a great thing to do. So look into that. I know it's not fun digging into your health insurance fine print, but it's super helpful to know that you're covered.
Yeah, it is super helpful, and it's good to just be on top of it. It's been interesting. I was sick recently, and having a high deductible plan, it really makes you evaluate your expenses a lot more. It makes you go, do I want that extra test? Do I want that extra thing?
Yeah, we had a call just the other day with someone going, I got billed for all these tests, and so I asked for an itemized, and now he's fighting it. So always make sure you know the healthcare services you're getting and verify them. Because when you ask for the itemized bill, all of a sudden it's a lot lower because they went, oh gosh, this person's paying attention to the $90 Advil we gave them.
Right? Well, in medical debt, that's one of the top debts in America. So it is important to be really on top of what you're being charged for and being proactive and looking at those line items because a lot of times they do just assume you're going to pay for everything. Or if you have a really great insurance plan, maybe they do pay for everything. But if you're somebody with an HSA, with a high deductible plan, you really want to pay attention to those line items.
Oh, yeah. And medical debt is one of the most frustrating because it's the only debt you don't really choose to go in.
Right. There's not like a glamorous, cool thing you get to hold at the end of it.
Yes. So I have a lot more empathy for that side. And the good thing is a lot of the times you can negotiate medical bills if they've been sitting out for a while, especially if they're in collections, which I don't recommend you send them to collections, just negotiate them. Pay them, but you can also negotiate with billing and get on payment plans if you're struggling. And so there's a lot of financial aid in that healthcare space, but it is a screwed up system. We can all agree on that.
Well, and it's important, too, just to have an advocate with you when you are going through something major in medical. You're overwhelmed. Like, that's a lot. And when you're feeling like your health is struggling, the last thing you're really thinking about is, well, how much am I going to be charged for this? So,
or I got to call billing and be on a phone tree for the next 28 minutes.
Right, exactly. So if you're going through something, it is really helpful to have somebody in your corner who's willing to advocate, to have those conversations and kind of stay on top of the money side of things so you don't get through that major health episode and go, oh man, what is all this? I didn't see it coming.
And you're paying for it for months and months. All right, let's go back to the phones. John joins us in Anaheim, California. John, welcome to the show.
Hello, how's it going?
Great, how are you?
Pretty good. So I'm kind of like confused in the situation I'm in. So I'm going to go back 6 months. 6 months ago, me and my girlfriend are living at my parents' house. And the plan is to stay there and start a family there since my parents are in their late 60s. My mom doesn't work. She gets Social Security. And my dad doesn't work because he's disabled. So the plan is for us to start a life there and help out Dad and in case they need help for anything. 4 months ago, my father actually passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So now, yeah, thank you. Well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So I'm living there with my parents. I have a brother and a sister. They both live outside of the city. And in the future, the plan is for us three to split the house, like an inheritance, right? Mm-hmm. So then now my father passed away. My mom cannot afford the mortgage, so I'm going to take over the mortgage. So I want to know what's the best way, I guess, to handle things in the end, to be fair with, I guess, me, because I'm taking over the mortgage, and also fair to my brother and sister, since they were also going to get that inheritance.
What's left on the mortgage?
$250,000.
What's your relationship like with your brother and sister? Is it pretty?
It's a great relationship. Like, that's why I want something to be fair, you know, because in the way I was, like, me and my mom were thinking, well, what if in the end you guys just split what the house is worth, like what you need to pay right now? Like, instead of what the house is worth at the end, you guys, I guess, you give them the money that's worth right now. Or I was thinking, what if at the end, if I do end up selling it, let's say in 40 years, I take 50% and then they split the other 50%?
What is the house worth right now?
The house right now is worth, I believe, $850,000.
Okay. So there's about $600 in equity if you owe $250.
Right.
So here's one way to do it, and this all involves a conversation and everyone agreeing. But what you could do is say, hey, there's $250 left on the mortgage. So when we do sell this thing and it becomes all of ours, you would owe your portion of that $250. So you'd subtract that from whatever the profits of the home were. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So $250 you said there's two other siblings?
Right. So it's three of us.
Okay, so let's say the home, you sell the home years from now and it's worth $900.
Right.
And you split it three ways. That would be $300 each if it's paid for, right?
Right.
But since you paid that mortgage over those years and hopefully paid it off early, they would subtract $83 because that's their portion of the mortgage that was left.
Okay.
And
that's one option.
And you may want to get with an estate attorney just to talk this through to make sure everything is clear, because it can get a little bit sticky, especially in the future when your mom does pass. You just want to make sure that everything is really clearly lined out, especially if you're paying for that mortgage for the next several years. You just want to make sure that everything is on paper, even though it's family, even though
no handshake agreements here.
Right.
Because we don't want these to turn into broken relationships because of this inheritance, which we see all too often. So have the conversation, do what's fair that you all agree on, and deal with that when the time comes. But talk about it now and have a game plan. Thanks so much for calling in. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
It is no secret that we love talking money around here, but we know not everyone feels that way. And that's why Rachel Cruz and I started thinking about what it would be like to talk money for those who'd rather just have some fun. So last week, we launched a new Ramsey podcast called Smart Money Happy Hour, where Rachel and I dig into the stuff you and your friends would talk about at your weekly happy hour with a little bit of a money slant. So we're talking pop culture, what's going on in the world, and how to afford a life you love. This is fun, casual money advice that will make you feel less stressed and more in control of your money. Plus, there's some hilarious moments there, Christina, if you've listened. I don't know that you have, but
Yes.
We've been having a great time, and people have been telling me they are talking to us, like in the car where they're talking to us, they're engaging in the conversation, which makes me feel real good. And there's always a takeaway, you learn something in there, and so it's been a lot of fun to see the feedback. We've been hanging out in the top 20 of all podcasts for a week straight.
So impressive. And I love it because it's just, that is genuinely who y'all are. Like, it is really like having had a happy hour with y'all. It is like who you are.
Yes.
In real life. Like, I could see people talking in the car to y'all because that's just hanging out with your friends.
It's our most authentic self.
Yep.
And so we sometimes have a mocktail or a cocktail in hand, and just to create a casual environment. And we've got 3 episodes, a new one just released today. So we started with, is convenience culture worth being broke? Hitting all the trends out there with Amazon and Google. We then went into the TV network that brainwashed us all. Spoiler alert, it's HGTV. And just today we released How Rich is the Royal Family and How to Build Your Financial Empire.
Ooh.
This was a fascinating one. We dig into exactly what their estate is made up of, what kind of income it creates for them, how they have passed this all on, what's going on with the will. I mean, it is mind-blowing stuff.
Oh, man.
Regardless of how you feel about the royal family, which I didn't know much about them. Rachel follows it, like
Oh, yeah.
It's a reality show.
I'm with her.
It's like keeping up with the Kardashians and then keeping up with the royal family. So I learned a lot, and we also talk about how to leave your own legacy for your family, how to build wealth, what net worth really means. And so there's some really cool takeaways in there. And the best part is hearing Rachel's British accent.
Oh,
Which
man.
I think I said in the podcast was offensive to all people groups.
Oh.
But it got better. We did some training behind the scenes, and so I think we included that at the end for your listening pleasure.
Oh, I'm so excited
thank
to
you all
listen.
so much for the feedback so far. You can go subscribe, follow Smart Money Happy Hour wherever you listen to podcasts. And it's also on YouTube, just the audio. We'll have video. A lot of people have been asking for that. We've posted some clips to social media, but video's coming for season 2.
I loved your clip
throttle.
when Rachel said she had a droid?
A droid.
Your face was
Oh my
priceless.
goodness. And the Android users, they're like bots in the comments. They're so angry at me for being an Apple. Listen, I worked at the Apple store, and one guy even said he has a haircut like an Apple guy. I was like, I didn't know we had certain haircuts.
Whoa.
I don't know. I guess we're all just like that hipster. We take care of ourselves. We shower daily.
Good
Sorry,
hygiene.
Droid users. Get on it. But we have a good time, even if we rib each other on that show. So don't miss out. Every Thursday, we've got a new episode for you. The next one is on Disney and Disney adults and Disney trauma, and are they pricing out the middle class? It is. We're just stepping on eggshells here, walking on them, because there's a lot of Disney fans out there.
Yeah.
And I might ruffle some feathers in that episode.
There's a lot of Disney fans in this building.
Yes, there was one in the room, and she shared her thoughts as well. So,
hey, and just to brag on you guys, George, it's number 1 in Apple business charts on the podcast. It's number 19 overall for all podcasts on Apple. It's number 1 in Spotify business. So you guys are crushing.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, producer James, for pulling the numbers, just so people don't think I'm making this up. And it's no credit to me. The team has done an amazing job with this, from the design to the recording to the editing to the marketing. It's been so fun to work with our incredible team of talented folks. And me and Rachel just, we yak and they put it out there. So go check it out. Let me know what you think, good or bad, because I know you're going to do it anyways. So might as well encourage it. So there you go. Smart Money Happy Hour. Go check it out. All right, open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Mark joins us up next in Springfield, Missouri. Mark, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, how you doing, George and Christina?
Doing great. How can we help?
All right. First off, I want to say grown-ups use Android and little kids use iPhones.
Wow.
So we're just talking about
Let me
that.
tell you why, Mark. Before we get into your question, it's because Apple makes an intuitive device that even children can use. And to use a Droid, you have to be a software engineer to figure that thing out. So there you go. That's my hot take.
All right. But anyway, my question today is, I started my own business about 17 months ago, and I'm in baby step 2. And I was wondering if I'm a veteran, retired military, and I was wondering if I should use my GI Bill to go back to school for like business administration or something like that to get some extra income, because as you know, with the GI Bill, I will get paid to go to school. So I was wondering if I should do that to get extra income to help with baby step 2, or if I should just focus on building my business.
What kind of business do you have right now?
Pet waste management. I'm a pooper scooper.
Oh,
how's it going? Are you making good money doing this?
Yeah, right now I'm making about $1,200 a week before taxes.
Way to go.
Yeah.
And is this like in your neighborhood? How have you been marketing this thing?
Well, I'm in the entire Springfield metropolitan area, so there's all of Springfield, Missouri, and then like 5 other cities that are fairly decent sized, around 10,000 or more people.
Way to go, man. And thank you for your sacrifice as well.
yeah.
You're a hero.
Hey, if you go back to school, how much do you anticipate it'll increase your income?
I think, I'm not positive, but I think it'll be about $1,000 a month.
Extra a month. And that's strictly through...
They pay like a housing allowance thing.
Okay. And that's... Okay, so the housing allowance is what you're counting on. Do you want to go back to school? Is that something you're desiring outside of the financial aspect?
Not really. I mean, the way I am right now is I know how to do my job, but it's getting more business oriented, and I'm not sure how to handle all of that. I'm doing my best, but I'm not great at it.
Are you solo right now?
If I went, do what?
Are you solo, or do you have
Yes,
a team?
Sir.
Okay. Are you looking to expand?
Eventually, yeah.
Okay. You hire a few people so you can have them in different areas and not have it all be on you.
Yes.
Well, $1,000 a month for the GI Bill, I mean, I think you can make another $1,000 a month in your business. And like George said, expand. You could bring on someone who is good at business, who could help you with some of the administrative part of it, and you could focus more on growing and doing what you do. So that's kind of one side of things. And then you could also go back to school. If that's something you really desire, of course, it's great to gain business skills, but I would want you to do it because you really want to do it and you want to gain those skills versus just getting an extra $1,000 a month.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at was, I'd get the extra $1,000 and I'd get the business, like knowledge, I guess. And, school's never been my cup of tea, but if it's something that I could do to help, my business and help me through baby step 2, then, I'd be willing to do it type of thing.
Yeah. How long is it going to take you to get this business degree? Are you looking at a 4-year program?
Yeah, it was. I was looking at on one of the online universities, and it was a 4-year program.
And do you think you can maintain your business currently at $1,200 a week while going to school?
Absolutely. At where I'm at right now, I'm not even working a full week yet. So.
Okay.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. So you think you can still keep growing your business and expanding and making that money while going to school?
Yeah, because I'm working about 28 hours a week right now.
Okay.
This is impressive.
Yeah.
You've built a cool business here that it seems sustainable, especially if you get a team around you to scale this thing to where you can make even more and while working even less.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have the motivation right now to go back to school and it's paid for and you think you can maintain the business at the same time, I mean, I don't see any loss in that.
Yeah. And this extra $1,000, does it have to be any kind of qualified expenses, or are they just writing you a check every month?
They just give you a check every month.
Wow.
You have to go to school for a certain amount of time, like a certain amount of hours each.
Yep.
Yeah.
Full time.
I would do it, man. I would do it, but I'd also want you to really be invested in the education and not just for the paycheck. So, search your heart there, and if it feels right, go for it. Either way, you're succeeding, and I'm proud of you. So Thank you for your service, and congrats on the business. Who knew? Pest weight management.
Hey, somebody's got to do it. That's awesome.
This is like Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe.
Yeah.
With our friend on the line here. Thank you so much for the call, Mark. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel. She's Christina Ellis. This is The Ramsey Show. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Their 100% satisfaction guarantee means even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, they will remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Rhonda in Ohio. I was wondering how you feel about applying for FAFSA. Is it worth the time if you think your income is too much and you won't take out student loans? I absolutely think that you should apply for the FAFSA. The fact that you're even asking this question means that your income is probably on the line where it's close enough that you likely could qualify, and it's worth the shot of at least checking to see. There are no income limits, so you can apply for the FAFSA no matter who you are, and it literally takes less than an hour. I think a lot of people feel really intimidated by it. They think that it's going to be, hours and hours and hours of work, but they continually simplify it, so it's getting a lot easier to do, and it's worth checking. Plus, even if you don't get a lot of financial aid, you don't get a lot of need-based aid at your school, some scholarships actually require the FAFSA even if you have a high income. So, for example, the Tennessee Promise, they require you to submit the FAFSA. It's a 2-year scholarship for students in Tennessee, and everybody is eligible for the Tennessee Promise with certain parameters. But financially, everybody's eligible, but you still have to fill out the FAFSA. So you might as well apply. Plus, the sooner you apply to when the FAFSA opens up, the more likely you're going to receive aid. So you don't want to wait until April and go, oh man, I just found a scholarship that requires me to apply for the FAFSA. Then you apply then and realize, oh wow, I could have had so much aid if I would have applied back in October. So give it a shot. It doesn't take a lot of time. Plus, they're making some changes on it in the 24-25 school year that'll make it even quicker. You're going to be able to sync with the IRS website and just transfer your tax information over even quicker than what they allow right now. Right now, you have to go out into a data retrieval tool and then come back. Soon, it's just going to be synced together, which is pretty awesome. Makes it just a lot easier and less intimidating for people.
Wow. The government is like a Baptist church. They eventually get on the trends. It just takes them a little longer.
Just takes a bit.
That's great. Well, look at it this way. If it takes an hour to fill out the FAFSA, then you make $100 in scholarships even. That's $100 an hour you just made.
Right?
So don't poo-poo this. Don't put it aside. I'm reading a stat here. 57% of high school graduates from the class of 21 completed the FAFSA. So those that did not, they missed out on this. $3.75 billion in Pell Grants went unclaimed in 21.
Ouch. Well, and
money just sitting out there.
Money just sitting out there, and some people might say, "Oh, my family didn't qualify for a lot of need. We only got $1,000 in financial need," and it's like that's $1,000 for 1 hour of work.
Yes.
So yeah,
this is big. And I remember when we did this, we were gifted so graciously inside of the FAFSA with loans. And so do not fall for this. Part of this is they say, hey, part of this financial aid package is a bunch of these unsubsidized loans, subsidized loans, plus loans. If it has the word loan on it, it's not a gift. you have to pay that back. So I'm only taking the financial aid that is actually free money.
100%. That's such an important point. I was actually just at a college counselors conference last week, and they were saying that around 50% of families couldn't identify the difference between a loan and gift aid in the financial aid package when they were reading the award letters. And it's like, that's a lot of people looking at those loans and thinking, ooh, I got gifted money. And it's not free money. So it is important to be able to distinguish the difference.
And that's part of the reason I had $36,000 of student loan debt.
Ouch.
When I graduated. And I didn't really understand at 18. I just thought my parents are loaded because they're just going, well, we got this. Don't worry about it, buddy. And I realized, they just like co-signed a bunch of loans for me.
Yeah.
And I got to pay these back now. And so you are the opposite side of that, getting $500,000 in scholarships because you were very intentional and strategic and had the conversation early with your mom. And so this is what to do and what not to do with me and Christina on the air today.
But man, I have so many friends in that situation. That's why I wanted to dive into this space, is because I've had so many friends that went, I had responsible adults telling me it's okay to take out $50,000 in loans or $100,000 in loans. Why didn't somebody stop me and say, hey, there's a different way. You don't have to go into debt. This is what it will mean in the long run. And so I just think it's so important to have those conversations. And I'm so passionate about this space because we have to create this conversation with young people and help them avoid it.
Yes, and it starts with you parents. And an easy way to do this, because I know it's awkward to talk to your kids about this because you have your own shame and baggage when it comes to your money mistakes, and so you feel uncomfortable talking to your kid about this. A really easy way to start the conversation is to just sit down with them and watch Borrowed Future. This is our feature film documentary. It's 88 minutes long. It's entertaining. So if you're a teenager, you are going to be hooked and your eyes are going to be like popping out of your head going, wait, what now? I had no idea Sally Mae was in it with the government, and this is how this thing got out of control, and I had no idea that this is how much people actually make when they get out of college versus how much loans they have. So it's a great way to spark a conversation.
Yeah, it's such a good way. It's one thing to like just talk at kids and say numbers and they're like blah, boring, but to have like a visual, to see a doctor in tears in the documentary because he took out $1 million in loans.
That moment is seared in my memory. It is worth watching just for the orthodontist. Wow. Yeah. So it's inspiring, it's heartbreaking. Christina's stories woven in there. So go to borrowedfuture.com. You can watch it this weekend with the kiddos.
Yeah.
And maybe you incentivize them. Say, hey, we'll go to your favorite restaurant if you're willing to watch this with me. Because I know as a teenager, like, what are you doing, Mom? I don't want to watch anything you want to watch. You're lame. But it's good stuff. All right, Logan joins us up next in Asheville. Logan, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for connecting with me today.
Sure. What's up?
Yeah, so quick question for you. So I'm in baby step 2. Should be done by the end of the year. All that's left is student loans. And so I'm a hustler by nature. So I've got a full-time day job. I work in full-time ministry, but I'm also renting my vehicle out on Turo, which is basically Airbnb for your car. And so with that, my car has been just rented out all the time. And so I had a friend sell me a really old 4Runner that I really like personally. I like driving that more. And so I'm considering now selling the vehicle that I have put on Turo. Now, keep in mind, all of these cars are paid off. I don't owe anything on them. But I just feel like right now I could probably get more. So the car that I'm renting out is a 2015 Crosstrek, about just north of 100,000 miles on it. Kelley Blue Book has it at roughly 15,000 right now, which is private sale. And so in my head, the value for this vehicle on the app will only start to tick downwards as the car gets older, as the miles add up. And so I'm just considering selling it now, getting out of Turo and just driving that 99 4Runner and then having my wife's car and just going about that. So I'm just looking for some advice.
Yeah. How much debt do you have left?
I have about 30,000. We've paid off just about 60 at this point, and all that's left is student loans.
Way to go. So this is going to cut your debt in half and speed up the process by half. So how much further, let's say you sell the car, how many more months to pay off the rest of the 15?
I could probably do that within 3 to 4 months. Just, again, trying to sell stuff, working odd jobs.
You're talking $5,000 a month just at the debt, even without doing Turo.
Right. Well, we've also had a child, so I still have that slush fund. We pressed pause on baby step 2 while my wife was pregnant and gave birth to our kiddo, and now she's healthy, she's good, so we have extra to where I can take it down.
So how much do you have in the bank?
Just about 15.
Oh, wow. So you could almost be completely debt-free tomorrow.
Right.
I like that plan.
Sell it. Now, also, so I'm making roughly $1,000 to $1,200 a month with Turo, and so I do like the idea of keeping it going. But I also see just the quicker play of getting rid of the car, making that money now, finishing baby step 2, maybe somewhat into baby step 3, and
if I'm you, I want freedom faster. And if you want to get back into Turo and buy a cheap car just to do that with, that's on you if you want to do that. But I like the idea of in the next 30 days, you got a new baby. Let's be completely debt free. Let's then stock up that 3 to 6 months emergency fund in the next 3 or 4 or 5 months. And now we're in a really different place financially.
Yeah, and you said you're a hustler, so it's like I think you're going to get there quick. With knocking this debt out, you're going to be able to get that emergency fund built out and just be in such a comfortable spot.
Yeah, and you're willing to drive the beater 4Runner versus the sweet Crosstrek. I'm doing it, man. Anytime someone's willing to sell the car, even though you're not in debt on it, this is going to speed up the financial process for you through the baby steps. So.
Well, and just make sure you keep on the horizon, that it is a 99 4Runner. You may have
you're going to have to upgrade.
Right.
Yep.
Expenses on that.
Good call. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books.
Have you been inspired to make a change with your money? Want to know where to start? Take our 3-minute money quiz to get a plan you can follow. Go to RamseySolutions.com and search for Get Started to get a plan for your money.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, host of the Fine Print Entree Leadership Podcast and co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour with Rachel Cruz, joined today by best-selling author Christina Ellis. And we are pumped to take your calls today, America. The number is 888-825-5225. We want to help you take that next step with your life, with your money. You're at a crossroads. You're feeling a little anxious. There's a lot going on in the world, Christina. There's a lot to be anxious about. We want to hopefully give you some peace.
Yes. And I love that new ad to your intro, the co-host of the Smart Money Happy Hour.
Feels good.
One of the top 20 podcasts in the nation right now.
That's
Y'all
right.
check it out. It is amazing.
I haven't even listened to the latest episode. I don't usually go back and listen to things with my voice. I don't enjoy that. And it's proof that I'm not a narcissist, James, despite what he tweeted earlier today. I'm just kidding. James he's a sweet producer. He would never do that.
I don't even have Twitter, George.
He doesn't even have Twitter. He's off the grid, man. You can't find this guy. His real name is not James.
Well, what's crazy is you're saying there's all this heavy stuff around money in the world, but y'all bring levity to money, which is so needed.
That's the goal.
I think a lot of people want to learn about money. They want to get better with their finances, but then they look on the news and it's overwhelming and it's all negative and it's all kind of depressing, but y'all bring fun to money, which is so needed and so cool.
Well, we just got this comment. So our team just sent it over to us. It says, my husband and I are really enjoying this podcast with Rachel and George. They really bring us laughter, and we look forward to listening to them together in the mornings. We're in a difficult season, so to have something like this to look forward to is awesome. Thank you, Rachel and George. Keep it up. And that it warms my heart to know that, everyone's going through a hard time. We need to laugh. Laughter is medicine, and that's why I love comedy. That's why I watch late night shows, because the news is heavy, and so to make light of it a little bit while also staying informed is very important to me. So that's how I choose to digest the news.
Right.
Through the lens of comedy.
And money can be fun. We can talk about the Royals and their money and all the things y'all unpacked this week on the show.
That's right. And I learned a lot. So go check it out. You can subscribe, follow Smart Money Happy Hour wherever you listen to podcasts, and let us know what you think. All right, open phones, 888-825-5225. Nicole's kicking us off this hour in Toledo. Nicole, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How can Christina and I help?
So I took a job, and I will be relocating between now and July of next year. And part of that relocation package was they're covering the sale of my home here and all the fees.
Wow.
They're covering the closing cost of my new home. They are also providing me $17,000 worth of relocation assistance. I'll get about $15,000 from the sale of my home, and I'm a military veteran, so I get VA benefits, so I can get a 15-year mortgage with no PMI. So my question is do I take that $30,000 and put it towards my $60,000 worth of debt, or do I still put it down as my down payment on my new home?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first of all, this company is very generous. That's incredible that they're doing this. You must be very sharp. What kind of work are you in?
Transportation and logistics.
Cool. Okay, so you have $60,000 in debt?
Yes.
What's that made up of?
Student loans, car, and home repair that was done.
Okay.
And when you move, do you plan on renting for a while, or what's kind of your thoughts on housing?
So I was actually planning on buying, and I'm looking to stay within 150 to 175.
And what's the new area?
It's a Cleveland, Akron area.
Okay, so you're still in Ohio, and you know the home prices over there. And how much equity would you be able to roll into the new house?
Between 15 and 20,000.
Okay. And that relocation money, would you need all of that, or is that you can use that towards the new house as well if you have extra?
I can use that for whatever relocation I need.
Okay.
Or whatever relocation assistance I need.
So, what's your income in the new position?
Monthly take home after that, my military pay and the child support is roughly $6,500 a month.
Great. So an easy way to look at this to make a decision is to take that and divide it by 4, and that will give you a quarter of your take-home pay. And so that tells me that $1,625 is my top. That's my top budget for a mortgage payment on a 15-year fixed. So how much would you need to put down in order to have that be the payment?
So I think I looked, and if I stick with 150, I would be at like $1,500 a month.
Okay. If you go out 150 house, and how much would you have to put down to do that?
Nothing.
You'd have 0%?
If I put nothing down, I think it calculated to $1,500 a month.
Okay. Well, I would love for you, if you have 15 from the home sale, let's put at least 10% down. You said you're not going to have PMI because of the VA benefit. So let's put at least 10% down as the goal, and the rest we can throw at the debt, knowing that our payment is still going to be less than a quarter of our take-home pay, which leaves you with a lot of margin to then tackle this debt.
And with
so then roughly half in debt and half on the down payment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with you moving to this new city, is this somewhere you think you're going to want to stay for a while?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because, I mean, there is the option of taking a little bit of time to rent. We often recommend people rent for a year when they're moving to a new city just to even figure out the areas, make sure that you love that new location and that job, that you're not going to want to uproot somewhere else before you really commit to a home purchase, because that is a huge decision. And if you do need to sell that home in the future, you may not have those real estate fees covered if you're not with that company. So there is the option to just take a little bit of time before purchasing to just kind of get to know the city and the areas.
Now you have about, 8 or 9 months? Is that enough time for you to actually go visit and check out the areas and work with a real estate agent and really start to dial some things in?
Yes, it is.
And on top of that, the next 8 or 9 months, we're going to be focused on knocking out this debt too.
Correct.
Love it. So you're going to have, how much debt do you think you could pay off in the next 8 months from that 60?
I think I can get at least 20 of it covered.
Wow. So now we're down to 40. And if we put 15 on that, we're down to 25. And now, by the end of next year, you'll be completely debt-free with a fully funded emergency fund.
That's the goal.
I love it.
It's very
that's
exciting.
A great vision to have. And thank you so much for your service and sacrifice. And congrats on the new position.
And what an amazing company.
Thank you.
That's incredible benefits. That's just awesome.
That is very, very great. So if they're hiring, I don't want to leave. But if you're out there listening, there are companies out there offering these amazing, amazing benefits. So don't be scared to look around, to start applying. If you're looking for an increase in pay, Ken Coleman's talking about this all the time. It's one of the best job markets we've ever seen. So don't be shy, apply. That's my new tagline, Christina.
I like it.
Take it if you will. Hey, more of your calls coming up. 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show.
I say it all the time. If you're a business owner and you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And when markets are shifting, it's even more important. You've got to know where you stand so you make your next move the right move. And you don't have to be in the dark here. Over 31,000 businesses, including my team at Ramsey, know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and inventory so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Having everything in one place has saved my team hours each week since we made the switch to NetSuite. NetSuite is a game changer. So head on over to netsuite.com/Ramsey to get a product tour today. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
I'm George Campbell, joined by Christina Ellis this hour. This is The Ramsey Show. 888-825-5225. You jump in, we'll talk about your life and your money. Giancarlo calls in next from Puerto Rico. All right. Giancarlo, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We're doing wonderfully. How can we help today?
All right. So just to give you guys context, right? So I'm currently in baby step number 0. I'm currently getting current in all my bills because I was about 5 weeks without income. So that set me back up, but I'm not too worried about that because I should be back on track in about 3 to 4 weeks at most.
Good.
And then baby step number 1 should take me a month at most. Now,
Correct. I'm
thinking in baby step number 2. Over here in Puerto Rico, the interest rates in cars are very high, and I have around $24,000 in debt total, out of which $18,000 is in my car. However, my car can sell for about $14,000 with its current, model year and mileage. It can sell anywhere between $14,000 to $15,000, but I'll probably need to spend or lower the price by about $1,000 to $2,000 because of physical damage repairs. Mechanically, everything is good, but there's a physical damage in the bumper. So I'm just wondering, I've never gone through the process of selling the car, and my mindset is I'm thinking of selling it at around $12,000 to $13,000, and then instead of putting all that in the car, using about $2,000 to get the $1,000 to $2,000 to get a used car, and then dumping the rest of the $10,000 in all my other debt, which should cover all of my other debt and put the car down by $2,000, which would lead me to about $16,000, but that should leave me anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 that I can put in the car per month. And I'm wondering if that's a good idea or how should I go about this? Because like I said, I've never sold a car. So I'm just looking for advice on how to go through this process.
So you're not going to be able to sell the car as long as you have the loan on it.
Okay.
So you're underwater on this based on what you told me. You said you have $18,000 on the car loan, but it's worth $14,000 or $13,000?
Correct.
So that means you're in the hole by about $5,000 on the car right now.
That's correct.
So that's the part of I didn't hear that as part of the equation. What was your solution for that?
All right. So what I'm wondering is how to go about this, because I don't know if I can even sell it while I would still owe.
No, you can't. You need a clean title in hand,
okay.
And you can't have. So what you need to do, one of two things. One, which I like the best, is you saving up $5,000 really quickly, sell everything, take on side jobs, and then once you have that $5,000, you sell it for $13,000, you're cleared. Now you have $0 to your name and no car, so that's a problem.
Okay.
So you're going to need a little more to be able to even buy a car. The other option, which this is the only time we'd ever tell you it's okay to take on some debt, is to take a personal loan for the difference from a local credit union. I don't know what it's like in Puerto Rico. In order to cover the difference, take out a $5,000 loan, you pay off the debt, and now we're in $5,000 of debt instead of $18,000.
All right, that sounds good. And then another question, because that sounds perfectly fine. And then another thing that I'm wondering is, would it also be possible for me to just put on hold baby step 1, for example? So first get current, put on hold baby step 1. If I do that in less than 5 months, I should have enough to make that difference and then be able to sell that car and continue with baby step 1. Is that doable, or should I just wait until I am in baby step 2?
You would need to wait, because the problem is if you try to skip baby step 1, then every little ankle biter emergency is going to set you back and throw you backwards into debt because you have no cushion. Right. So the point of baby step 1 is just a tiny buffer to grab those ankle biters, the flat tire, the medical bill, those little things. Most emergencies in our lives that we think back on are less than $1,000. And so that's the purpose of that, is so that you actually feel some traction. Otherwise, you're going to be in baby step 1 forever.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds good to me. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And also, when you go to sell that car, just make sure you really look at Kelley Blue Book, see that range. You mentioned that you've got something that you would knock down $1,000 or $2,000 for. But, before you do that in your advertising, you may want to list it at 14 or 15, like you said, and then allow that to be part of the negotiation versus starting at 12 or 13 and then possibly having someone complain and want a little bit more knocked off. So just make sure you really look at the car's value and see if you should start a little bit higher so you have some negotiation room.
Yeah, and on top of the private sale, Giancarlo, you can also look at a lot of these online retailers that are buying cars right now, and they are paying top dollar still. So I would take advantage of that and do your due diligence, do your homework, research all of these sites like Carvana and Vroom that are paying sometimes more than you could get private sale, and you're not dealing with the negotiations back and forth, and they're happy to go fix it up and resell it for a profit. So that's another option for you to look into as well.
Absolutely. And I know that this sounds so basic, but just make sure to clean your car before you go to sell it. Having looked at used cars, I've been kind of blown away sometimes where I'm like,
they're gross.
Just vacuum the car.
Go through the car wash for $10 and use the free vacuums. I did this the other day to mine, and it felt like I have a brand new car.
Yeah, it's lovely. And when you're trying to sell your car, you need that. You need that nice car smell. It makes you more likely to buy. And it's just funny how many people skip that very
Febreze it down, guys. Come on. All right, good stuff. Mary joins us up next in New York City. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
My nerves have gotten to me. My stomach is really
it's just us, Mary. You're going to be fine.
Just us. Yeah, it's fine. So I have a question about, at what point do you start saving up for a down payment of a house?
Where are you at right now in the baby steps?
We are past the emergency fund step.
Then you are exactly where you need to be to start saving up. We call it baby step 3B. It's an optional step because not everyone is going to buy a house with their current state and where they live and all those things. So that's where you do it, because you have a financial foundation where you have no payments and you also have a fully funded emergency fund. So that's where we begin to save up. 10, 20% down is ideal to avoid PMI at that point. So have you looked at houses in your area?
Yeah, we've looked in houses in the area, and it's more so we know that the down payment is ridiculous at 20%.
Are you in New York City proper?
Yes, proper. Yes.
Wow. So have you? What kind? Are we talking a condo?
Apartment? No. Like an actual house area. They have parts of the city that you can actually get a house, which the down payment would be roughly $200,000.
And so you're looking at $1 million house. What are we talking?
That's the average price of any house in New York City.
And what's your income?
I believe the take home combined is around.
Sorry, you broke up on us.
150. Sorry.
150 is take home.
Is around.
Okay. All right. So what's...
I was confused if we should be saving for retirement at this point too, or do we stop that?
Yeah, it's a great question. It becomes kind of a choose your own adventure when you get to 3B4. Some people, how old are you two?
I am 34 and he is 39.
Okay. Do you guys have anything saved in retirement?
Yes, we both have been contributing when we first started out at our first job, so we do have some in there in the 401k, and then I have we both have Roth IRAs, and as well as I should be getting a pension from my company as well.
Cool.
Matt, how long do you anticipate it'll take you to get to that 200K?
That's what I'm trying to figure out now. Like, we're going to sit down and have a big budget meeting on Saturday, and kind of going to go over everything at that point as to where everything lies and how long it would take us.
Okay, because we don't want you in 3B for too long.
Yeah, we don't want you to pause that investing portion for more than about 2 years. And so that's the purpose of it, is you get really aggressive with the savings. And the truth is, you don't get a pass on math in New York City. And I'm doing the math here on our mortgage calculator at RamseySolutions.com. If you put $200,000 down on even a $950 house, your mortgage payment is $7,000. And if you're taking 12 home, that is a huge portion. So it may mean you live further out of the city. It may mean it takes you 6 years to save, and we're going to invest 15% while we do that.
Okay.
Did I hurt your feelings, Mary?
Okay, thank you so much.
I don't want to do that.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Never.
I just want this house to be a blessing and not a curse. And so part of it is you live in one of the most expensive areas in the world, and it's just going to take longer if that's the goal and that's the dream. So stick with it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Have you ever noticed when you commit to a change in one area of your life, it's easier to make progress in others? We've met thousands of people on their journey to building wealth who accomplished other amazing things along the way, like losing 50 pounds, improving their marriages, finding careers they love, overcoming stress and anxiety. What seems impossible becomes possible when you have a smart plan in place and you turn up the focus and intensity on your goals. And that's exactly what we do at our Smart Conference event, and it's coming to Dallas, Texas on Saturday, October 22nd. This is a full one-day event where we help you build momentum in all areas of your life. Whether you lost your job, the credit card bill's eating up your paychecks, you need a little pep in your step because the financial journey is long and hard, or you're feeling all alone in this crazy world. We've got you. Ramsey personalities, Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman, Dave Ramsey, Christina Ellis, myself will be on stage to give you a smart plan for your money, your relationships, your career, personal growth, you name it. We'll also have special guests, Craig and Amy Groeschel, there as well, speaking on marriage. It's going to be a good time and very entertaining, I might add. There's going to be live music. You never know which personalities will jump up there. Maybe Christina will do a solo on the guitar.
Wouldn't that be entertaining?
More likely John Deloney, because this guy, it's his childhood dream to be ripping a solo in an arena, and so we're going to hopefully let him do that. So that's worth the ticket price right there, folks. Join us live in person October 22nd. Get your passes before they sell out. Even if you're not from Dallas, we get people who visit us from all over the world at these events, and I love meeting them, and it's a full day. It's you're drinking from the hose on this one. I mean, you just leave exhausted, motivated, inspired, ready to make some changes in your life. So join us. Bring some friends along. RamseySolutions.com/events is the place to go. Reserve your seats today. This is going to be a sellout event. Good times. You ready for your talk at Smart Conference?
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm stoked. We just put on the final touches last week, and I can't wait.
You're ahead of me, but it's going to be great. I'm very excited about where it's going. All right, open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Lori joins us up next in St. Louis. Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, how can we help?
I need to know how to plan for my future and my children's future. I am debt-free except for my mortgage, but I've still got quite a bit on it. I'm in my 40s. I'm a single mom. I have 2 elementary school age children. I make, 54 net, but that's after everything, so about 75 gross, so not a lot. I do contribute 15% to my 401k. I do drive an older vehicle. I've got about $100,000 in cash on hand in different accounts that I could access, checking, savings kind of thing. I don't have anything set up for my children's education other than that cash. I don't have any 529s or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just looking for what's the best way to move forward. My investments in my 401k are it's like a program that invests for you automatically based on when you're supposed to retire.
Oh, like a target date fund?
Yeah,
You can't choose it?
Oh, I probably can, but I know nothing about any of that. So
okay.
I just leave it like that.
Got it.
So,
well, Lori, you are doing a lot better than you think you are. You sound kind of defeated and you feel like you're not making progress, but you're amazing.
Yeah, that was my thought. You're doing a really good job. I think you kind of feel heavy about it, but I think we should start with the foundation of you're doing a really good job.
So,
thank you.
Let's dig into some of these details. You've got the mortgage left. What's on that?
$167.
Okay, that's not too bad. And you have a great income. You sounded like you feel like you don't make enough. Are you able to pay all your bills?
Yeah.
So the $100,000 in cash, does that include your emergency fund of 3 to 6 months?
I don't have it broken. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have. My house payment's only $1,000 a month.
Awesome.
Lori, what's kind of your financial background? How did you decide not to take out debt? Have you been following the baby steps? What kind of got you started on this journey and made you want to call today?
Well, I've always been really responsible with money, but then I went through a divorce that depleted me quite significantly. So I think there's a lot of fear that just because I had more. So now it's like I want to make sure that my children are taken care of and that, I guess I've been feeling old lately. And I just want to make sure that I have a plan for the future and that I'm not dependent on them. I don't want them to struggle. So I think a lot of it's probably fear-based. And I've never really I had to pay off debt, so I was intentional at one point in my life, but for most of my life, I haven't struggled financially. So I've never really been too intentional about where my money goes. It's like if we go to the store, I don't have to think, do I have enough to cover it? I just get it.
Well, we can help with that side of it. I'm going to gift you 1 year of Every Dollar Premium to help you make a plan for every single one of those dollars, because I think that will give you confidence and a little pep in your step that you're not just wandering through your financial life and making ends meet.
Yeah, and have you taken Financial Peace University?
No.
Let's also get her access to that.
I love it. 1 year of Financial Peace, 1 year of Every Dollar.
And there's one more thing I think I want to gift her. Let's get you a copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future by Dr. John Deloney, because you've been through a lot. And I think, like you said, you're feeling a lot of fear. I think you're feeling a bit defeated, but you're really doing a great job. And I think that you've got a really bright future ahead. But this book will help you kind of walk through those emotions so that you can get rid of some of that heaviness and really take ownership of your journey.
Yes. So, Lori, we're going to do that at the end of the call. Austin will pick up. We'll gift you with all of that. But before we go, let me hit you with just some real tactical things you can do this week to make you feel some progress. Number one, there's probably an advisor, a financial advisor that's attached to your 401k plan at work. So contact your HR team and figure out who that person is so that you can get in touch with them and they can help you figure out what funds exist in that account that align with our principles. I want you in growth stock mutual funds, diversified across 4 types. You can easily find this stuff on our website. And I want you in that instead of these target date funds, because what those do, they switch you to way more conservative investments over time. So you're going to be invested more in bonds than stocks, and bonds have they're safer bets, but they also have very little growth. And I don't want that in retirement where you go, I'm running out of money because I'm invested in things that aren't growing. That's a problem. So that's number one.
I mean, when I look at my 401k, that's where I get most defeated because, of course, it's not done well this year.
Oh, yeah, the market's terrible. Terrible year to look at your 401k. But we're thinking future, Lori, here. We're thinking 20 years out, and so there's a great track record on that. The second thing is opening a 529 plan or an ESA, Education Savings Account, which you can do with one of our SmartVestor pros at RamseySolutions.com and click on Ramsey Recommends. And they can help you set one of these up and they'll align with our philosophy on which mutual funds to choose inside of that. And the ESA has limits of about $2,000 a year. But with the money you have, the $100,000, I'd go ahead and just fully fund that for the year, $2,000 each for each of the kids. You can also do a 529 plan that are state specific. They can help you choose one of those, and those have way higher limits for what you can contribute. So that will help you.
What's the benefit of that?
Well, that money will grow tax free, and then you can withdraw it tax free for education expenses.
Okay.
So that will set them up for college. They're in elementary school now, so think 10, 15 years from now. If you just do that every year, that money's going to grow to be 6 figures and help them go to college debt-free.
Okay.
And then anything beyond that, you're already investing 15%. We're throwing some money into the kids' college. Beyond that, take the rest of the money in that account beyond your 3 to 6 months emergency fund and throw it at the mortgage. And let's start attacking that mortgage next.
Okay. What if I'm not sure that I'm staying in my current home?
Well, the good news is the money didn't disappear, because when you sell that house, you have all of that equity that you'll be able to roll into the next house. And so I love it because it's a forced savings plan, because when it's sitting in the bank, it all of a sudden becomes the new car fund, the vacation fund, instead of the freedom fund for Lori, so that she doesn't have a house payment for the last 25 years of her life. So that's my dream for you. So start dreaming, get connected to a SmartVestor, take care of the 401k. You're doing great. There's just little tweaks along the way, but you're a warrior. Single moms are very, very impressive. You're doing so great.
I grew up with a single mom, and y'all are warriors.
Amazing. Heroes. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Christina Ellis, and we are taking your calls. It's about your life and your money. 888-825-5225. Colorado Springs is where we go next. Andrew joins us there. What's up, Andrew?
How's it going, sir?
We are doing so great. How are you? How can we help?
I'm doing. I have a question. I'm on baby step.
Sorry, you're breaking up on us. Can you try to get to a clear spot?
Can you hear me better now, sir?
A little better. Let's try that.
All right. So I'm on baby step 0 with 2 credit cards, and I don't know how to figure out my debt. I'm trying to figure out how to start 0, but I have no clue of figuring out how to figure out exactly what my debt is. I don't know that avenue.
Do you know who you owe that debt to?
So me and the wife, we've been together 5 years. We know we have 2 credit cards. I know I went to Swift. There might be a possibility with that company could owe some money, but just maybe think it was completely negligent with money. What is the fastest way to figure out who you owe debt to so you can start paying it off?
Well, the first place
I don't think we're... Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, the first place I'd start with is your credit report. So you can go in on your credit report. It's going to list the different creditors that you owe money to.
And you can pull that for free. So don't pay for it.
So I've already made a few mistakes, okay?
You already paid for it?
I did about 6 months ago, but it didn't show.
It was totally clear?
I believe it was one. No, sorry. It did show up like a 100 or 150.
I'm sorry, my friend. You're breaking up on us.
I said it did show maybe $150 cell phone bill from the past, but that's all it showed up. But that right there was, I don't know if like it fully considered me and my wife. I'm not for sure.
Did you run a report for both of you?
No, ma'am. I did it on my information.
Okay. And you remember signing up for 2 credit cards?
We have 2 credit cards together right now and the total balance is like $900. We can knock that out. That's no problem. It's just trying to figure out who else might be holding the debt gavel.
Okay. How do you know that you owe the $900? Are you getting statements in the mail, or where's that info?
Yes, ma'am. They send to in the mail, and we know we opened these cards.
Well, you should have an account with them. Can you contact them and have them pull up your file and say, hey, what exactly do I owe? Have you tried that?
Yes, sir. No, these 2 of the $900 I fully understand. I just want to know if there's any more debt looming over us and how to figure out how to take care of that before we start on baby step 1.
But to your knowledge, these 2 is all the debt you have. You have no recollection of any other debt sitting out there.
Other than that cell phone bill that it pulled up, it did ring knowledge when I was 19. That I might not have paid the bill, and now they're holding me for $150.
Well, there'd be collectors calling you. You'd be getting some stuff in the mail. So I don't think it's going to be much of a secret if you owe money.
Well, and could you call up that cell phone company just to check?
Yes, I can. I haven't yet. We've just started on this journey for about a month now, less than a month.
Oh.
Okay.
So
well, we're glad you're on board. And part of this plan, Andrew, is starting to be very proactive with money instead of reactive. We've got to start paying attention. We're not going to be passive. We're just going to be aggressive. We're going to be on the phones figuring out who we owe, what we owe, how are we going to pay this off, how quickly can we do it, how can we get a financial foundation under us so that we can sleep better at night and we have freedom. And so we can help you with that part. With a budget. And I'll gift you 1 year of Every Dollar Premium and Financial Peace University for you and your wife to go through. Since you're new listeners, I want you to get a full picture of what this crazy plan looks like so that you can feel that motivation and progress.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get on the phone and just call people. I think there's no harm in picking up the phone and just being kind of shameless. Like if you think there's any chance that you owe somebody something, check. Like a lot of people have medical debt that pops up they didn't realize that they had, and then one day they're getting a call from a collector and they're like, whoa, I didn't see this coming. So if there's any chance you have a medical debt, a traffic ticket that's outstanding, or anything like that, just give the person a call and double check. Just to make sure.
Andrew, both of you, your wife and yourself, go to annualcreditreport.com. You can pull for free once a year your credit reports from all 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And so what you can do then is cross-check between all 3 to figure out what debt is sitting out there and what you owe. And that will help you gain some confidence and clarity.
As far as you know, is it just the $900 that y'all owe?
Well, plus the $150 for the probability of the cell phone that I do remember. So about $1,000.
Call it $1,000. What's your income?
$70,000. I just got promoted, so I'm making $70,000 a year.
Great. So this debt's going to be gone tomorrow.
I just want to make sure because I don't want to get caught in the trap of, well, now you didn't take care of 0, so guess what? You moved up, but now you got to go back there.
You want to make sure you pay your balance in full.
And the wife has talked about it. I want everything kosher before even moving up. I want it done so I don't have to deal with it.
Well, get it in writing. Anytime you pay, say, hey, I want this written. Yes, this is settled in full. And close the account.
Well, and also, I would encourage you to get that $1,000 emergency fund because we've got the baby steps. And baby step 1, you said you're on 0. Baby step 1 is get that $1,000 emergency fund. So I would do that even before you worry about these cards, and then go to baby step 2 so that you can avoid going into any further debt.
Understood. I'll definitely do that.
But I love
something I did miss is... I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, go ahead.
Something I did miss is the name of that website. I was trying to write it down, but I didn't have my pen in my hand.
Annualcreditreport.com.
report. Okay.
And don't pay a dime.
All right, sorry. Yeah, well, I already messed up, but it won't happen again. You got to learn.
That's all right.
Hey, I think you got to cut yourself some slack. You keep saying, you messed up, or I got to have everything right and everything's perfect. Like, it's a journey. It's a financial journey. We make mistakes all the time, even in our own journeys.
All
I
the
think
time.
Dave would say the same thing. It's just something where you
That
you
means
can't
you're
expect.
over 12 years old if you made a money mistake. So join the club, Andrew.
There
it's a
we
weird
go.
one.
That's it. It's great.
So hang on the line. Austin is going to pick up. We're going to gift you 1 year Financial Peace University. Watch all 9 lessons. You don't have to do it all in one night, but spread it out. Maybe once a week. There's discussion questions along there, some fill in the blanks to keep you engaged, as well as every dollar premium. What I want you to do is this weekend, sit down with your wife, and you're going to map out your income for the month, and that's going to sit at the top. Beyond that is your expenses. List every single thing out that has hit your bank account. Every transaction needs a home in your budget. And what's going to happen at first is you're going to be disgusted. And you're going to go, we spent $800 eating out this month? Oh, my goodness.
Ouch.
No wonder we don't know where our money's going. And so this is step 1, is admitting you have a problem, and that's okay. I did the same thing when I first started doing a budget.
Yep.
Step 2 is to go, all right, we're going to try to aim for $400 for our total food budget, and we're not going to eat out because we are in debt. The house is on fire. We've got to do some things differently. So then your goal is to track every transaction with every dollar premium. It'll connect to your bank. You can drag the transactions up and track all of those. And your goal is to stay within those parameters for each category. And when you do that, you're going to see so much progress, and you're going to feel so confident about the future. And the sacrifice goes from difficult to addicting. Because you're like, where else could we save? We're paying too much for cable. You know what? Cut the cable. We got $400 in cell phone bill. Oh my goodness, no, we're switching. We're going to go $30 for the unlimited plan. We're switching carriers. We're getting ripped off.
Right.
And so you do that in every single budget line item, and it's amazing all of the money you'll find in the proverbial couch cushion.
Yep. But again, show yourself grace in that process. Don't try the budget for a month and go, man, I suck at this. I didn't hit all my line items and I just must not be good at budgeting, because it takes the average person about 3 months to really get the hang of it. So give yourself grace that first few months, because you will reach that spot where you're like, ooh, this is exciting and it's fun. But you have to walk through those periods of time where it's like, oh, this isn't very fun, because I got to learn it and I got to get used to new habits.
You're looking in the mirror and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't worked out in a long time, financially speaking.
Right.
And it's not fun to look at. But then you see the progress day after day, month after month, and all of a sudden you got a pile of money in the bank and no payments, and you're able to breathe and you have margin, and you can focus on your kids and your marriage because you're not hoping that next paycheck comes in. So thanks so much for the call, Andrew. Glad you're joining our weird club. Austin's going to pick up and help you out. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my co-host, Christina Ellis, all the folks in the booth, Austin, Ben, James, Andrew, Zach, and you, America. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you before you know it. Do you love a good Dave rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm George Campbell, joined by Christina Ellis this hour. This is your show, America, so call us up, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Reminder for those of you that enjoy the show, if you've ever found it helpful, we need you to do us a favor and go subscribe and follow wherever you're listening. Leave us a 5-star review. Share it with a friend. We want to help and impact more people like you, and that makes a huge difference. We can't do this without you. We appreciate that. Ann kicks us off this hour in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ann, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Sure. How can we help?
Well, me and my husband we have 4, 5, and 6, and we're struggling with trying to find focus for steps 5 and 6. Right now we're paying an extra $500 a month on our house, which will get us done with the mortgage in about 5 years. But we haven't checked the kids' college off yet. Like, we're doing a little bit, and now I'm trying to do the math and figure out how we can do it and still make progress on our house, because it feels so good to have an end in sight for the house. And the kids are 7 and 2, and that just seems so far away. But it just feels overwhelming to save that much money for them to have college paid for. So I'm just looking for tips and advice on how to do that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And balancing 4, 5, 6 can feel difficult because you're not sure how much to put towards one thing. It's a little bit squishy. There's no parameters of you have to put this amount, like we say with investing. Mm-hmm. And that's because every situation is different. And so in your case, you do have a lot of time, but that means it's a great time to invest for them because that money has so much time to grow and compound.
Right.
So
right.
I think the balance is working with a SmartVestor Pro and doing the math and going, all right, juniors 2 in 16 years, probably going off to college. So how can we make sure we have a big pile of money in 16 years? That may look like $2,000 a year for the next 16 years and let that compound to close to 6 figures.
Well, and just getting started in general, I think is going to be good. Even if it's $25 a month for each kid, just
that's literally what we're doing. Our 2-year-old is getting $25 a month, and our 7-year-old is like $100 a month. And now I'm just trying to figure out, what more to do. How do we get to that? Like, I'm just trying to get like $100,000 in there by the time they're both 18. And is it bad to, like, for the 2-year-old, it takes like $200 a month to get pretty darn close to that. And then our 7-year-old, is it bad to just do we should be able to get some lump sums with my summer gig. I don't know. Well, is it better to do monthly or lump sum?
Think about this, Ann. Let's say it takes 6 years instead of 5 because we're investing a little more for the kids. Mm-hmm. Well, 6 years from now, the kids are going to be 8 and 13, and you have no payments in the world. And so you have all of your income at your disposal to then save up and be able to help cash flow college. And so the fact you're even struggling with this tells me you're in a good spot. What's that?
Okay. Is that okay to keep paying off that? Like, because I could take that $500, the extra a month that we're paying on the house, and put that towards the kids' college, but it feels so good to do that extra money on the house.
Yes, because there's an end in sight that's a lot closer with the house payment, and you free up a payment. Saving for college, you're never freeing up any payment like you are with debt.
Right.
Well, and I love that you want to help your kids with college, but it's also not an obligation. You know, that is a gift and it's a wonderful thing to do, but it is still important for y'all to take care of your finances and be in a great spot when you hit retirement age. So I definitely think you can do both in this situation. I think you guys are in a great spot to be able to pay off the house. And even if there's a little bit left at, where you don't quite have enough saved up for the kids' college, I think you'll be able to cash flow quite a bit of it. But there's also scholarships. There's also picking an affordable school. There's a lot of different ways that they can still go debt-free. But I think you're on the right track to accomplish both goals.
What's your income, household?
$74,000.
Okay. And I imagine that income will go up over time. So that's only going to help the situation. But when I'm looking at the numbers, I go, okay, $500 a month at the house, that's $6,000 a year?
Yeah.
Extra? Correct. What if we could fully fund an ESA for both kids? That's $4,000 a year. So now we're talking we need to find $10,000 worth of margin every year in order to keep up with both of these goals. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
And I think that will give you some peace and confidence that you're on the right track and you're not doing too much in one and not enough in the other. Just set a goal in each area, find that $10,000 in margin, and make sure you're hitting that. And if you can do extra on top of that, that's only going to help both. And if you want to put that on the house for now, that's great. And then we can be more aggressive once the house is paid off and really ramp up the college savings.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes me feel a lot better.
That's what we're here to do. Just make you feel a little bit better, Ann. Thank you so much for the call. You're doing so great. I just want to encourage you in that. You're in a great spot. Cameron joins us up next in D.C. Cameron, welcome to the show.
Hello. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. What's your question?
Yes, I just wanted to know what are some strategies that I can use to become more financially independent.
Well, tell us a little bit more about your situation right now.
Okay, so I recently graduated college with my master's in business administration, and I graduated in August of 2021, and I've worked from then up until now, and I've been able to save a good amount of money that I'm planning to use for a down payment for a condo or a townhouse in my area. And I've just started a new job, and that's where I'm at right now.
What's your income?
It's $55,000 a year.
Okay, and how much debt do you have?
I'm fortunate that I was able to graduate with no debt.
Good
Awesome.
job.
So no debt, and do you have a pile of money? How much money do you have in the bank, liquid cash?
I have about $10,000.
Okay, and that would be considered your emergency fund? Is that about 3 to 6 months of expenses?
Yes. Well, I live at home with my mom now, so yes, I consider that.
Well, let's call that 10 grand your emergency fund, because we know you're not going to be living there, in the next few years, potentially.
Yep.
So any money beyond that $10,000, now we can start to use to invest wisely, to save up for that down payment. And it sounds like your next goal is to get in a condo or house and buy some property.
Yes.
And if you're going to do that, the way to do it is to save up a big down payment, and culture will tell you, hey, put as little down as possible and it'll be okay. The problem is it's really hard to be financially independent when you have a giant pile of debt hanging around your neck.
Right.
And you know what it's like to live debt-free. You don't have payments, which means all of your income stays with you. So the more you can use that wisely to stock up a whole bunch of cash, to get property, to then pay that property off, that is the path to financial independence.
And you've done such a good job so far. The fact that you got an MBA with zero debt, that's a great accomplishment. So I encourage you to keep that debt-free mindset going forward, because a lot of people get that great job, then they're like, woohoo, let's buy a house, let's buy too much. But keep that mindset. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Keep living with your parents for another year, stack up a whole bunch of cash, and maybe you'll have a down payment, and then I want you investing 15% of your income, and that's the key. Culture will tell you financial independence looks a lot different, but the baby steps is the best path to do it. So make sure you're following those steps. Don't waver. Don't fall for a TikTok real estate investing scheme. Stay the course, my man. This is The Ramsey Show. Have you ever wanted to hear the most popular calls from The Ramsey Show in one place? Do you love a good Dave Rant? Can you tell these questions are rhetorical? Well, if you want to hear our current take on events, you want to hear the best debt-free screams that people love the most hilarious calls, you got to go check out a new limited series we released called The Best of The Ramsey Show, where you get all of those things you want and more. And in true Ramsey fashion, we hit on the current real estate market, investing, the trends, how to take control of your life and money in these crazy times. So you can find all of those special episodes on our Ramsey Show YouTube channels or on Spotify. All you need to do is search for The Best of The Ramsey Show. You will not regret it. I love seeing the comments on these. Our team did a great job just compiling all of the best, the creme de la creme, if you will. Zach's in there. He's part of our YouTube team. He's thanking me because they love a good shout out. They really, and they deserve it. You know, we do very little compared to those guys. Salt of the earth folks.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the phones. The number to call is 888-825-5225. Chris is up next in Colorado Springs. Chris, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. What's going on?
So I'm active duty military, and I move every 2 to 3 years. And we just moved to Colorado Springs and purchased a home. It's our second home to ever purchase. We sold our other one, and I've been working. I've done most of the baby steps, not realizing until I started researching once I got out here. And I have no debt other than my mortgage. Would y'all recommend that I just try to pay that down as much as I can before I go to sell and move in, say, 2.5 years?
I am always a fan of paying down the mortgage because it's a forced savings plan. Do you guys have any other goals, any other financial expenses coming up that you're worried about?
No, both our vehicles are newer. They're paid off. Nothing crazy or anything like that. We have 2 children, and like I said, we don't have any other debt other than the house. So I'm just trying to figure out what I should do next because I have a 401k plus my military retirement. When I get to 20 years, I only have 5 more years and I can retire.
Wow.
And so that would also be my income whenever I retire.
Well, how cool would it be to retire with no mortgage payment? And you can, if you're moving, you can roll that equity into the next house with cash.
So y'all would recommend that I pay down more on the house as much as possible every month until I get out of here. Because I looked into refinancing when I moved out here. I didn't have the money to put down, or I had to scrape money together to put down because the house was so expensive, and I had 2 VA loans. But now I have money from the previous house to put into it, but they won't. The only thing I can do is refinance because it's a VA loan, but the interest rates are so high right now compared to what I got when I got the house.
Yeah. What's left on the mortgage?
About $414,000.
Wow.
$414,000.
That's a big one. What's the monthly payment on that?
$26.63.
And what's your take-home pay?
I make $6,448 a month.
And that's total household income?
Yes. My wife's a stay-at-home mother.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a big chunk of your take-home pay just going to that mortgage.
Yeah, and I actually contacted one of y'all's refinance people about it, and they looked into it, and they said, well, you can't do anything right now. Your only option is to refinance, but you have to wait, I think he said 100 or 210 days before I could do anything. But the mortgage rate, it would be so much higher than what I already have.
The refinancing is not the problem. The problem is you guys got too much house.
Well, I mean, for what we needed for our family and stuff, because I'm big about my family being comfortable wherever I go, because they have to follow me around for my career. So, and the problem is the housing market here in Colorado Springs is insane.
How does this payment feel right now in your budget? Do y'all feel pretty strapped? I know you called asking about paying it off early, but are you guys able to afford the $2,663 right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can afford it because we have no other debt and stuff. And then on top of that, the military, so on top of in my pay, I get $2,100 a month for house payments.
Is that included in the $6,448 you mentioned?
Yes, that is included, but it's tax-free.
Okay. Well, the problem I'm seeing is you have over 40% of your take-home pay going to this mortgage. And so you don't have a lot of margin to even pay it down early.
Yeah.
You're lucky to cover all the bills and put food on the table and cover insurance and all the other pieces for your family. So when do you plan on moving?
We don't really well, I got here about 6 months ago, so 2.5 years I'll be up for orders again out of here.
Do you have any way to increase your household income?
I'm looking into trying to go to officer program.
Okay.
For my last few years to up it. That would be like a $300 pay bump if I get accepted into that.
And do you think your wife would work outside the home at any point?
Well, we looked into what it would cost for child care and her working and stuff, and it's just financially it makes more sense for her to stay at home and take care of the kids and with my work schedule and everything.
You said that you'll be out of active duty in about 5 years. What is your plan for your next stop? Are you going to buy another house, or what's kind of your vision for that?
Well, in 2.5 years I'll move again. I'm not sure where, and then in 5 years I'll hit my 20-year mark. So I could retire depending on promotions. If I get promoted, I could stay in over 20, which is the goal, is to keep going as long as possible to build up my retirement from the military. Because I'm in what they call the high 3 system. So it's the last 3 years of my take-home pay. They average that out, and I get 50% at 20 years. And then it keeps going up a percentage every year after that.
Okay. When you move to your next location, so you plan on buying a house then, and then do you plan on staying in that location or possibly moving after that?
It really depends on where they move me to, because we've talked about moving back because we're originally from Tennessee, but we haven't lived there in over 15 years. So we don't know if we want to move back there or if we want to settle down wherever we get sent next. If they send me to California, I'm definitely not retiring there.
I would just make sure, as you're doing these moves and buying houses, just to look at all the fees associated with it, especially the real estate fees. That's going to be a decent percentage in each transaction. So, total up what the closing costs are going to be, what the real estate fees are, and then divide it out and see, what is that costing you if you are only going to be there for 3 years? Is that really going to be a benefit in the long run?
And it may be worth renting in those scenarios for a while.
Well, the problem is the brokerage company I went through, they didn't really explain. They were like, "Oh, well, you'll just be able to," because our last home we had built and we made over $150,000 on it. So once I scraped together the money for a down payment on this house, I replenished my my savings account and everything.
So what's this house
now
worth?
I'm looking in. This house is worth $520, I think, right now.
So you put about $100 down on it, and the rest
Yeah.
went to savings?
Yeah. And once I sold the other house a couple months later, because we had to eat that house for a couple months because the market cooled down.
Well, right now you're going to have to maintain where you're at, and I would pay it down so that when you move into that next house, the payment is very reasonable. I want you on a 15-year conventional mortgage where the payment's no more than a quarter of your take-home pay. That's what's going to give you the margin. And right now you're talking about you want your family to be comfortable, but the problem is it's hard to be comfortable when almost half your paycheck is going to the mortgage.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I wish I started listening to you guys sooner. My last duty station was training recruits, and I didn't exactly have time to focus on finances and stuff.
Well, hey, thank you so much for your service, and thank you for your willingness to move around like that, to take your family and uproot them and move through all these different cities to serve our country.
Absolutely.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. And Christina, a lot of these areas where the military's folks are based, the neighborhoods, and Dave's talked about this on air, because of how much people are going and coming, the house prices don't appreciate all that much. And so it's not a great investment in those areas because there's always inventory. And supply and demand is how the housing market works, as we've seen the last few years. And so this can be a very dangerous scenario for folks that are not there for long periods of time. They take on too much house. They have very little equity. And so I just want Chris to have more equity, more margin in his life, and to be able to retire with dignity with no house payment instead of continually staying in this cycle.
Absolutely. Well, he's in Colorado Springs, so hopefully when he sells this house, he'll get a nice
It's
increase.
a hot real estate market for sure over there.
Yeah,
So-
but we're glad you found us. We're glad you're on board with us now and can use us moving forward.
Thanks for the call, Chris. 888-825-5225. You call in. We'll talk about your life and your money. This is The Ramsey Show. Listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Christina Ellis this hour. The number to call is 888-825-5225. On occasion, we get some really nice guests in our lobby that travel from all over the country, sometimes the world, just to come see us at the headquarters here. So I want to encourage you to do so. We've got free baked goods, free coffee. People don't know this, but they were asking about my Ramsey Show mug. And I was like, hey, you got to visit us to get it. It's free, one per family if you come see us. So that's a hot ticket item. But occasionally in the lobby, there's a question that we put on air. And so on the debt-free stage, we have David from Corpus Christi who has a question for us. How's it going, David?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. What's going on?
We're about a year ago. I moved from Florida and sold my house in Florida, and we made out pretty well with the equity in the house. And then some complications with closing in Florida and then closing in our new house. We got delayed in Florida, had to take out a VA loan for the Texas house, so we weren't able to put in all the money that we had into the new house.
So you didn't have the funds in time for closing.
Exactly, yeah. So now we have $100,000 sitting in our bank account, and some things we've done with it was we set up a 529 for our little girl, done IRA contributions for the year, and now we're sitting at 100,000. We're on 4, 5, and 6, and just looking to see what you guys have to
Well,
offer.
let's say you did have those funds before closing. Would you have put them into the house?
That was the plan. Yep. I would have done the 15-year, but unfortunately we went with the 30-year.
That's all right. Well, we can still pay this thing off aggressively. And what's on the mortgage? What's left?
We got about $350 left.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would it feel good to knock it down to $250 tomorrow?
See, that's a question because it wouldn't really lower our monthly payment, and we're kind of hurting a lot right now with inflation. But yeah, it would feel good eventually to.
Is this
to get to that
outside of
point.
your emergency fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have $100,000 of liquid cash that you can do what you want, but you're saying it feels safer to just have it sitting in the bank.
I don't want it sitting in the bank because it's not working for me. So I'm thinking like maybe doing a brokerage account and trying to get a little bit more return because I have a 2.5% interest, and if I refinance now, then it's going to be close to 5 or whatever.
What's the interest rate on your mortgage?
It's 2.5.
Okay. Well, you're in 456. You're doing 15% to retirement. You've got the kids' college underway. The next step is to pay down the house. And I know it doesn't lower your payment to put that $100,000, but it does, cut it by a third. And so I would still do that if I were you.
Okay.
I know it's hard mentally because on paper you're like, well, I could make this in the market. I mean, why would I put in a brokerage account?
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing what the market's doing. You put that $100,000 in a brokerage account, and in 3 months it could turn into 80.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're going, oh my gosh. Versus the forced savings plan of the house, because I don't know about you, I'm human, which means I'm fallible, which means that $100,000 can easily turn into, you know what? We kind of deserve that newer car. It's safer for the kids. Got to get the nice, get the Honda Odyssey minivan. Let's get the 2020. And so it turns into a lot of other things. And so I love putting it into the house as a way to force myself into debt freedom.
Okay.
What do you think, Christina?
Well, and just keeping that vision of what it's going to feel like when you have a paid off house. Like, I think right now it's like, oh man, I'm still going to make the same payment every month and that money's just not going to be liquid anymore. But it's like, how much quicker can you get to that spot where you have zero payments in the world? And how good will that feel? How secure will you feel, especially now with inflation and so much gloom and doom in the markets and in the news? But it's like, if you got a paid off house, you're just going to be sitting back chilling. So keeping that vision in mind where it's not that immediate gratification of feeling like a lower payment, but it's that long-term goal of, gosh, it's going to feel good.
How old are you?
30.
30. That's awesome. So do you guys have a vision for when you want this house paid off?
Well, kind of similar to the last caller. I'll only be here for another maybe 2 years. So probably won't pay this one off, but
you're going to be on this earth a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But 2 years in the house, you're going to have that money to roll into the next one. And that's where that forced savings plan comes into play, because you roll into the next one today and you're like, well, we're still going to have a giant mortgage hanging over our heads for 15 or 30 years. Yeah. And, I grew up thinking you just have a mortgage until you retire and die. Like, that's just part of it. It's the American dream. And we paid off our mortgage last December, famously on that stage. At 32, and my wife was 31. And let me tell you, there's nothing like it. And I meet very few people who pay off their house and regret it and go, you know what, I'd rather have that $250 in the bank, making me feel good. There's nothing like having no mortgage payment. So what is your mortgage payment today?
It's about $2,300 a month. Yep.
And so I just put that on paper and go, what is $2,300 a month every year? And what is that over 10 years? And if I can invest that kind of money, and how could we send our kids to college completely debt-free and not worry about it? How could we retire early at, 45 or 50 if we don't have a mortgage payment for the next 20 years? And so I want you to maybe sit down with your wife on a dream date and start dreaming about it, pray about it, and go, what's our vision for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, not what's going to happen in the next month with the economy and inflation. Think further out than that.
Okay.
Because this is going to be a blip on the radar of your entire life as you watch your little girl grow up. And I'd love for her to grow up in a home that's paid for. That's a cool vision,
That's
man.
the dream, yeah. About 5 to 10 years, we'd like to have it paid off.
Awesome.
Well, and keep watching the debt-free screams, because even sitting behind the desk and listening to them, man, it just puts fire in your belly when you see people who are doing it and they paid it off. Like you said, you had that feeling at 31, 32 of complete freedom moving forward. And it's like, just keep watching them to keep that motivation and keep that vision and that why right in front of you.
I listen to you guys every day.
I appreciate it, man. Well, thanks for visiting us. And thank you so much for the question.
Really, really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. It's awesome. All right, we're going to move on to the phones where I can't see them, unfortunately. Kelly's there in Jackson, Mississippi. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great. How are y'all?
We're doing fantastic. How can we help today?
Hey, thanks so much for taking my call. My question is, the overview is, should I change my income tax withholding to keep more in my paycheck so that nothing is taken out, and then just allow for that in a sinking fund in our budget item.
And why would you do that?
Well, okay, so we will be debt free by February. I'd like to accelerate that a little more. So we're on baby step 2. I have the $1,000 emergency fund, and I'm trying to get as much into paying off that debt as possible. And then after that, I just think it'd be a good practice for me to keep that money as long as possible till you have to pay the check at the end of the year.
Well, Kelly, I know you want to accelerate the debt, but what you're doing is you're creating the fastest path to owing the IRS a giant chunk of money. And that's a scary place to be, my friend, because you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're not really helping your debt-free journey, because that $50 that you get back in your check is now $50 you have to then go save in a savings account to have the money come tax time. You see what I'm saying?
Right, okay. Well, I mean, we would make room for it in our monthly budget.
Well, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men. It's one of those where you're like, yeah, no, we'll save for it later. We got that later. But then later never comes, and all of a sudden you go to file your tax return. And I tell you this out of experience, Kelly, because I've been there, where we're like, we owe $6,000 to the IRS, and now it becomes an emergency when it didn't have to be. And now you're robbing your emergency fund, if you even have it, or you're getting on a payment plan with the IRS, which is frightening. And so I want you to get to zero. I want you to not get a refund and not owe money. The closest you can get to zero, the better.
I got you.
Yeah, the IRS is not a forgiving debtor. That is not someone you want
We put it at the top of the debt snowball anytime anyone has IRS debt. And I want bigger things for you than to be owing the IRS every year as some kind of scheme. There's no way around it. You got to pay the tax man. So I would adjust your withholdings to try to get to exactly zero. You can do the math. There's a tax withholding calculator on the IRS website where you can pop in all your numbers, and it'll show you exactly how much you need to put away every month in taxes from your paycheck. So that's what I would do. I know you want to accelerate the debt-free journey, but the only way to do that is to create more income and to shave more expenses. That is the true path, and that comes down to doing a budget every single month. Thanks so much for the call. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, 1 Peter 3:8. Finally, all of you, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. Maya Angelou said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style." Ooh, love that. Love that from Maya. Good stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, to the phones we go. Javier joins us in Phoenix. Welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, what's going on?
So I just had a question. So me and my wife were like pretty much on baby step 2. We saved the $1,000 and we started snowballing our debt. But the question is, should I put that on hold and just try to focus on just raising more money? I had a drunk driver crash into my house about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, my goodness.
And totaled my wife's vehicle. So instead of having the 2 vehicles, we're down to 1. Luckily for her, she works from home, but we still have to get the kid to school and then back while I'm at work. So,
and no one was injured?
No one was injured, thank God. Yeah, there was no fire in the house, no water damage. It's just basically, like, I guess you want to call it cosmetic. He came straight barreling through the front door pretty much.
Oh, wow.
That's scary.
And it damaged your wife's vehicle?
So it was a total loss of my wife's vehicle. And so what we got, I mean, it was nothing brand new. We had a 2012 Hyundai Tucson, and with my fault because the driver who crashed into us didn't have no insurance, so it's basically all on our insurance. Luckily, we had full coverage, so we got it paid out. But I guess with the comps around town and because of the year and the mileage, they only gave us about $7,000 after deductibles. So should I put on hold trying to rebuild our $1,000 emergency fund and the snowball debt to try to make up the difference to get something close to that same year and model?
How much is it to replace the car? You said they gave you $7,000. How much would it be to get it?
They gave us $7,000. But I mean, just the size of the family. We're just trying to find something like a crossover because we have a sedan. We had a sedan, so we're trying to find a crossover. To just kind of sponge everything because more than likely, once they start construction on the home, we're gonna have to leave. And it's just basically, depending on where we go, we might have to be taking the dogs back and forth to either my sister's or my father-in-law's house. So I need something big enough to get the dogs in there.
Okay, how much money do you have in the bank right now, aside from the $7,000?
Right now, apart from the $7,000, I probably got maybe $500 in my little side account that I have for savings.
And how much debt do y'all have?
Well, we just have the house. And we have maybe one credit card that's probably about $2,500.
Okay. So that would be the only thing in your debt snowball is that credit card?
Yeah.
And then we'd be moving on to...
It's 2 credit cards, but that's the total amount. And we're almost done with the smaller one.
Okay. And then what's your income?
My income, I want to say I make about $40,000 a year. And then my wife is probably just under me. So she's probably maybe 36, 38.
So about $75,000 a year gross income for both of you?
Yes.
Okay, so how quickly can we save up another few grand and get a vehicle?
I'm hoping within a couple of months because I do have a part-time job, but it's only 1 day a week. But I mean, it is a full 8-hour shift that I'm getting on there.
Okay.
So on top of my Monday through Friday, and then she's just Monday through Friday.
So if you've got $7,500 to your name, I'm going to put away $1,000 of that for the starter emergency fund, which leaves you $6,500, and that becomes the car fund. And we are going to get a car next month. And if it's not the dream car, that's okay. We can always upgrade later and sell that one and upgrade to the bigger one. Right now, we can't be super picky.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in a very different place 6 months from now.
Explain to my wife. I need to try, and my wife doesn't get it. She's like, we need something. We're not getting anything older. We need the same year. And I'm just I just can't get through to her on that part. So I'm just all right,
mentally, she's stuck on, she wants that exact car, and now that car is $10,000 instead of $7,000.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So let's see, can we save up $2,000 in the next month and just sell as much as we can, work as much as we can extra, shave our expenses as much as we can so that we can expedite this process, get that vehicle. Then we're going to focus on getting back to the debt, paying off the $2,500, cut up the cards, we're closing them, we're not going to use them anymore as our emergency fund, and then we're going to focus on getting a fully funded emergency fund in place so we never have to deal with this kind of stress again.
Yes, that's what exactly I need to do, but it's just weird because I feel like sometimes she doesn't see my point of view, and then I tell her well, Dave Ramsey. She's like, I don't want to hear about this Dave Ramsey.
Well, that's not going to get you where you want to go.
Well, and I think it's important to just acknowledge that she's probably grieving this. this wasn't just her car broke down. This was a big deal. Yeah. Somebody came onto her property and wrecked, and she lost a car that was she liked. She was happy with that car, and so this is a lot to process for her. So I think just giving her space and time to grieve a bit while also making the right financial decisions could be helpful. Just acknowledging just how big of an emotional thing that is to overcome. I think the numbers, I think what George said is great. You can find a big vehicle for $6,500. I mean, it's not going to be the most glamorous vehicle.
It may be an 09 instead of the 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's both and. It's doing the right financial decisions, but also giving her space to grieve and acknowledge those emotions and kind of work through and process. Because having what y'all went through happen where it affected your house, it affected your car, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. And we're going to gift you 1 year of Financial Peace University. I want you and your wife to sit down together, watch all 9 lessons, I think that will get you on the same page, and it will turn Dave's name from a cuss word into a happy name.
Yes.
That's what we want for you guys. So hang on the line. Austin will pick up. We'll gift you that Financial Peace University. Thanks for the
Well, and
call.
it'll help you see the future, too, because right now it's like this moment is so heavy. But going through Financial Peace, you're going to be able to see the why of the $6,500 car right now.
Get a bigger picture.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, Ashton joins us up next in Springfield, Missouri. Ashton, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, I want to just say God bless you both. It's an honor.
Oh, thank you. What's going on?
So, long story short, I'll make this quick. I believe I'm one of the last callers. Me and my wife just had the privilege to pay off all our debt this past May, and God is so good, man.
Way to go!
Congratulations! First and foremost.
Awesome.
She's a mini Christina. Let's just say that.
We love to hear it.
She got
driven.
She got her whole entire bachelor's paid for through a scholarship to where, it's just God. God bless that. That's amazing. But
So
I
cool.
was the knucklehead and took out the student loan. So I was $36,000 roughly.
Oh,
in
me
debt,
too.
and paid it off in 17 months.
That's so great.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
join the party, man. But it's gone now.
Yeah, let me get to the question. I apologize. So now that she's in grad school, she's going to Doctor of Physical Therapy school, and she's also getting all of that paid for through a scholarship.
Way to go.
I know it. It's incredible. She's part of a Native American tribe, and so there's a lot of opportunities out there for those that may not necessarily think they can.
Yeah.
And so I just want to put that out there.
Okay, we got about less than a minute. What's the question we can help with today?
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. So there's going to be clinical rotations on her last year of grad school, and so that's a lot of traveling, 4 different locations within 9 months. Should I start investing now? Should we pile up cash for that storm, or should we do a little both?
How old are you
We don't have
two?
any housing right now. I'm 25. I just turned 25, and she's 23.
Okay. I would say to pile up
Yes,
cash
sir.
for the next year and see what life looks like. You guys have plenty of time to invest, and that'll
Yes,
give you
sir.
guys some peace while she's in school and we're figuring out what the next steps look like. Beyond that, yes, we can split the difference. We can start saving up a down payment. We can use that cash towards that. We can start investing and fully fund a Roth IRA if we're in a good spot with the down payment, depending on the home that you're looking at. And so I think you go about this with wisdom, and we don't know what her income's going to be either, right?
Right. We are daily listeners, so we're all in. We've been all in. And so I figured you'd say that, so I just wanted to get verification.
We're not surprising around here, Christina. You pretty much know what we're going to say.
I love
Yes,
it.
sir.
And y'all are rock stars. Way to go. That's awesome.
I feel good about your future.
She is incredible, guys. I married up for sure.
That's the only way to
Smart
do it,
man.
my man. We love to hear it. Well, that puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my co-host, Christina Ellis, all the folks in the booth, Austin, Ben, James, Zach, and Andrew. And you, America, we can't do this show without you. We appreciate you listening in. Until next time, spend wisely, save intentionally, and give generously. Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube.